What's going on, guys? Master Coach and Education Director Aaron Guyette here at LivingFit and Kettlebell Kings. I have the incredible pleasure of having this phenom of an athlete slash coach, Sean Hayes. He is the Director of Strength and Conditioning at the WWE Performance Center, and he's got a list of accolades a mile long, so we will not bore you to tears with his entire resume. Sean, just to start us off, what got you into this thing called fitness, strength, conditioning, lifting, all that stuff?
Hey, Aaron, thanks for the intro, man. I'm probably not an incredible athlete. I train incredible athletes, so I appreciate that intro. Man, thanks for having me. Love your company. Love you guys are doing. So thanks for the intro. When I got started, man, I probably remember lifting when I was 12, 13 years old, always playing sports as a kid growing up. Kind of got into the weight room at that middle school age, and then, always I kind of continued playing football in the college ranks. So strength and conditioning was always a big thing in order to play football. But how I got into it specifically, like as a profession, 2012, my old strength coach, Craig Fitzgerald, took the head strength job at Penn State University under Coach Bill O'Brien in 2012. He called me up out of the blue. He said, "Man, I know what type of player you were when you played for us in college. I know you're coaching football. I need you in the weight room." So I was kind of nervous. I've never been in a strength coach before, but it was baptism by fire under Craig Fitzgerald, 2012 Penn State. And from then on, the way this kind of path twists and turns. Here I am at WWE Performance Center. But yeah, that's kind of how I started. Maybe a little unconventional. It didn't take the maybe the education courses and had that as a roadmap for myself. I kind of always saw myself as a linebacker coach. Man, I'm glad it happened. I've always be kind of grateful for Coach Fitz and give me in. And but yeah, that's kind of how I got started, man. Just throw right into it.
Yeah, right. And wow, sometimes that's the best way to learn. But at the same time, I mean, being a linebacker, you're probably not a bad athlete, right? If you're a linebacker at Harvard University, you probably weren't bad. And then it says all Ivy and 09, so probably doing pretty good. And then with that, I'm sure comes an exorbitant amount of experience, not only on the field and learning all the techniques and skills and all of the things necessary to play the game, but then you gotta keep the physiology to a certain level to be able to go out on the field and do the things that you do. So I'm guessing that there's a lot more experience, which is probably why Coach Fitzgerald chose you. And I'm sure there's probably some other things under the hood, right? Mindset wise that maybe you've got that other people don't have, right?
He knew it comes down to trust, and knowing, when you're a strength coach, and I'm starting to see it now because I have athletes that I've coached and, for a number of years now, especially with WWE. I've been there for 5 years. You just know the type of athletes you'd want to go to war with, you'd want to have on your team, so to speak. And there's a list of them and they're all great. You love all your athletes and you go to work for them every day and you're appreciative of them, but certain ones that are gonna be reliable and you can count on and you kind of have that connection with. So I think that's what it was with Coach Fitz. And he, look, experience trumps everything, man. Look, you gotta have the book smarts. You gotta be able to have the science knowledge, no question about it, no doubt. But if you gotta be able to apply that on the floor and connect with your athletes and experience that is what that experience on the floor can only be achieved by actually doing it. You're really not going to read that in a textbook. Yes, you need that knowledge 100%, but I'm kind of glad that I learned experience first, and then I got into the books, and then I got into the knowledge of it because, then I always kind of had that sense of what the room's like, how to command the room, how to run an organized workout with 90 plus athletes that are high paid or in a high performance organization. So I'm fortunate that I got to learn that way. And yes, you need both. But yeah, that experience of that being on the floor, man, you can't substitute. There's no substitute for that.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, traveling the world, it's, a majority of most trainers, strength coaches and stuff are kinesthetic learners, right? Visual kinesthetic or kinesthetic visual. And almost never are they, hyper cerebral. Now there's a few where they're like super nerds, right? Hyper cerebral, but also doers, right? Learn by doing type people. And I mean, it's such a kinesthetic thing, right? Like you're creating adaptation through movement, through force, through stuff that you have to do. So it just makes sense, right? That, you lay the ground floor, the foundation with that experience, and then you could start dropping in theory and dropping in principles and dropping in the science and go, okay, now we can program something that's effective for this person that isn't just lost in theory or only, found in a science book and never found in a weight room. Right?
100%. 100%. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So talk us through kind of a day in the life of, right? You said you traveled, worked year round with 140 athletes. I mean, that's a testament unto itself. That's a pretty incredible feat. 140 is a lot, right? So I'm sure you've probably got some help in that, some extra eyes and things. At the same time, talk us through what does that look like from an organization standpoint? What does that look like from a present standpoint? And then now with COVID, I'm sure there's a small little twist on it. I don't know. What does that look like in a technology leveraged world as well?
Sure. Yeah. So we're under the WWE umbrella. We're under WWE Talent Development. So we have a team of us is under Talent Development that we operate out of Orlando, Florida, and our brand is called NXT. So we have about 100 athletes that are signed to WWE, and we're trying to create the next big WWE superstars, the next batch of superstars, right? If you turn on your TV screen on Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, 95% or some high number like that, I believe it's run in mid-90s, came from NXT, came from that Performance Center in Orlando. So it's almost like a farm system, if you can relate it to baseball, but it's its own brand. So we have NXT, we have our own show Wednesday night live on USA Network, so we have our own big-time superstars in their own right. And so we're out of Orlando. We're training these 100-plus athletes, all different types of athletes, right? Coming from professional football, coming from MMA backgrounds, coming from jiu-jitsu, coming from all across the globe. We have 45% of our roster is international. We have independent wrestlers that have been working the independent scene for years on end and finally getting their shot. People that coming in with zero experience. You can imagine the type of characters height-wise, and we have all different shapes and sizes, male, female. It's a huge. I mean, it's a diverse setting, and I love that. It's very unique. We're trying to give them. They have wrestling coaches to help them inside the ring. They have myself, strength conditioning coach in my team. They have top-notch medical team, right? So to keep them healthy, if they get banged up, they're getting them back to play. They have promo, acting, creative coaches, writing teams. We bring in a great Justin Sua, who's a huge influence on Instagram. He works for a bunch of NFL teams, MLB teams. He's a mind coach, man. He's a mental performance coach. He comes in and works with our athletes. So you can imagine all these pieces, nutritionists, all these pieces, just like an NFL team would have. We have that in Orlando, and we're trying to give our talent what they need to become that superstar, right? Whether they're starting from day one or whether they've had 15 years in the business and they just now signing with NXT, and we got to keep them healthy, right? So there's all different types of levels. Maybe someone's coming in the door and, hey, we're going to have a good 2 to 3 years of development with this person. Or they're coming in the door and we're like, we need to make this person a star. He's got a window. Let's get that window optimized as best we can. So that's kind of like the macro side of it. We got this building in Orlando. We're trying to pump out, create the next superstars. Not only are we in Orlando, that NXT brand it has an extension in England. So we have NXT UK brand. So we have the same type of facility in Enfield, London, that is home for 40 plus WWE NXT UK talent, and that number keeps growing. So that's probably in the 50s now. They're on a top-notch network in the UK. Every week they're on TV. I believe it's BB Sports or BB1. I could be wrong on that, but they're getting great exposure. So we're doing this thing. I have a strength coach in the UK, Dan Ogden, that I just got off the phone with today. We went over our manual of what they're going to do in their next camp that they show up to in 2 weeks. So we're on the same page, me and him, because I can't fly over there right now due to COVID. So we're on board. We have coaches over there on board, ready to attack. And that's kind of like if you look at it from the outside in, we're just building these athletes that are going to become the next WWE superstars. And it's pretty fun because being a football player my whole life, it was all about production on the field, right? Get them strong, get them to jump higher, get them to run faster, get them knowledge, get them to know what they're doing on the field, to know the plays. But in this sport, it's more than that. It's acting. It's what is your character? It's, what is your gear like? What is your theme music going to be? How do you react to the crowd? So it's another whole more elements to this, just like acting. So it's very fun. You do got to get them stronger and faster. So I love that part, but I also just cool to watch this whole other element to it, to where it's physical theater at its finest. And WWE is a great organization to be a part of. So, yeah, that's kind of like, if you were looking at it from the outside in, man, you got these – it's just like an NFL team. We're trying to – except they're trying to win a Super Bowl. We're just trying to pump out great television and great superstars along the way.